Jeff Christopher.
Welcome to episode number 101 of Vinyl Bang. Today's guest is a friend of Jeff and I, and a fan of the show, who has been constantly reaching out to both of us, just talking records. And then one day Jeff's like, "We got to get this guy Miles on the show." I'm like, "Yeah." Miles of Wax Wizard Records from Instagram. Miles, welcome to the show today, sir. Thank you for coming
Hello.
on.
Miles.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you on. Like I said, you and I have been chatting records. I didn't realize you and Jeff have been chatting as well, but it's good when we have people who have the same heart for music and records like us, and then they come on our show and they kind of like blow me and Jeff away with this new music that we've never heard of because we're both just so old and don't know shit.
You're old. I'm fucking.
I'm 19.
Shut up.
All right,
Shut up.
all right. Miles, let's not waste any time. Let's get to why you came to our show today.
Cool. I got a bunch of records here, and just kind of walk you through them. Some of them kind of special records. Some of them, how I got into record collecting. So just kicking it off with that one. I was given my dad's record collection. And Jethro Tull, he gave me like every album. He had every album within the discography. And this one, Thick as a Brick, side one was like worn out. So I know like people talk about how you play your record enough that it gets worn out. Well, this is the first time I ever heard a record that like actually did that, and that was my dad because he was listening to it so much. So pretty cool. I do want to find another pressing, obviously, so I can hear both sides pretty good. But again, he gave me my collection, gave me his collection, and then turntable, and then it just kind of went from there. Kind of around, I got that right like in middle school is when he gave that to me, and then high school is when I bought my first record, which is Leonard Skinner's Second Helping. So around that time is probably when I like got more into like classic rock, because when I was a young kid I was more into like the new metal of System of a Down and kind of stuff was on the radio, and like thinking more classic rock is dad music or whatever. But again, so it's just starting to go down those rabbit holes. Allman Brothers, Leonard Skinner, Rolling Stones, just kind of going through those discographies. And Second Helping was a good one. It's got all the classics, Sweet Home Alabama. The song I really like on here is The Ballad of Curtis Lowe. So that's a cool, like, kind of deep cut from Skinner.
Fun fact: I never knew what album Sweet Home Alabama was on. So
Second Helping. So it's their second album is when that came out.
Of course, it's one of those songs that unborn children have heard. I mean, everybody knows fucking Sweet Home Alabama, but I just never took the time to learn what album it was on. So
let me tell you something. For many, many years, I used to think that was their like hit song. That's the song that everybody should know them for, right?
Yeah.
And then everybody just started talking about Freebird, and I was like, "This is a song that I never heard." And I was like maybe like 17 or so when I first heard Freebird. I was like, "Oh shit!" So yeah, I was late to the party on that one, but yeah, Sweet Home
We get it,
Alabama.
and then and then you're just gonna go to every concert and hear someone yell it. No one's ever gonna play it, I guess, but eventually, I saw part of Leonard Skinner, like the 1.5 members that are still in it at the amphitheater a couple years ago. So got to see Freebird in that live. So that's not bad.
Nice.
All right. So next on my list is John McLaughlin and the Fourth Dimension. And then it also is with Jimmy Herring and the Invisible Whip. So live in San Francisco. So I live in the Bay Area, kind of near San Jose, but San Francisco, Oakland, Santa Cruz are kind of all within my market. So you can go to shows there. But this one, originally, they only offered the pressings to people that had tickets to the show. So it's not numbered, this one. They do have numbered pressings, but mine's not. But I still think that's really cool that it is a live recording of the show that I went to, and that they pressed it on vinyl. And then my notes from that too was pretty crazy. It was kind of like jam band royalty that like we were in this aisle and Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead, he walked past our aisle, and then David Schools as well. He's from Widespread Panic, another big jam band. So just cool to see the artists that appreciate the music that you like that are also at that show. So it's kind of like the band's band or something like that.
That is fucking incredible. Jeff and I were just talking about this the other day with Primus, how like you can basically like download all their past shows and like they have the opportunity of like only because you were at the show you can purchase this vinyl.
Yeah.
I would love that. That's sacred.
Yeah. I mean,
That's-
even if it was just the digital recording of the live show after or something, if you had the opportunity to do that.
Metallica does that. They sell CDs,
Yeah,
and if you buy the
yeah.
CD, you get and I guess if you bought the ticket through the club, you get the digital download. But like, it's just that's fucking awesome. I love that. But you have an actual physical of a record. Like I have these CDs from Metallica, but that record that you got is like that's fucking badass. Man.
Yeah. So again, it's like the house is burning down. That's the record I'm grabbing, and like it is I think it was like $100, like $150 being sold on Discogs. So it's worth some money too. So that's cool.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there are going to be people from that didn't go to the show that are going to be like collectors that would want to have the audio from that show just because they're collectors. But that's rad for sure.
For real. All right. So moving down the list. So next up, I got kind of the clear section, as I was talking about. You guys,
Nice.
the Relapse clear records, you guys pretty high up, and I honestly had no idea what they were until this show. And so then I went back and looked at my records, and this one I thought was Relapse clear record, but is actually put out by 21 Buck Spin. So, but it's a clear record. So, but Yob is on Relapse now, so that's why I thought it was a clear record. But again, it is still a clear pressing, just not a clear Relapse one. But yeah, so this one's Yob Atma. They did do a reissue remaster of this one, but this is the original one, and I bought this at their merch table, so that's pretty cool to get. And again, I thought it was a Relapse clear, but it's not. But recently, they did sell some Relapse clears on their Bandcamp. So I bought this one. This is Yob's first album that they did, Elaboration of Carbon, and this is also the first time that's been pressed on vinyl as well. So it was only like on CD before. So then they just released it, and this is on Relapse, and then this one's a clear. So pull that out. So finally got one. Nice.
There you are. There you go.
Crystal clear, no less.
Yeah. Yeah, the other one I think is a little cloudier. I think that's why I questioned if it was a real clear or not too. Yeah, see, a little cloudier, so not the same kind of clear that Relapse, I guess.
Some are like that. Some are cloudy. Some are crystal clear. I definitely have one of a little both. Real quick, I have a question from my co-host. Did you ever think we would be teaching people stuff like what Relapse Clear was on our show?
I'm honored and amazed. I had no idea that the Relapse Clears wasn't a widely known thing. Yeah. So that's awesome. I mean, you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a family or a friend, so I'm not in the bubble.
Okay. Just real quick about the clear thing. I have two things. First off, our good friend Brooke Ann, a week or so ago, said she conducted a test. She had 3 different pressings of an Enter Arma album, I believe it was. She had a test press, a standard press, and a clear press. And she said that she listened to all 3 like simultaneously to see if there was any difference. And she said that the clear was a significant different sound from the other 2. Like it sounded much clearer than the other 2, which is something that Nick and I have talked about even before. Like
Blake Harrison. Blake Harrison told me that fact many years ago.
Oh, okay. So, and after Blake had told you, you had told me that, clears were supposed to sound better. And I just kind of, Okay, that's cute, whatever, but I guess they do. I mean, and not to say that, Brooks' word is law or anything, but it's cool that somebody actually conducted that test and took three different pressings of the same album and said that Clear was substantially
Hmm.
the one that actually sounds better. And the second thing I want to say is the other day, whenever I tagged you on Instagram, on that post on Instagram, where the Clear pressings are actually the standard. The Clear pressings are what vinyl is actually supposed to be. Like whenever they make black pressings, they're dyed.
Yeah.
It's a dye that they put into the clear pressing to make it a black pressing. But
Mm.
I didn't know that aspect of it. The clear pressings were actually what vinyl is actually supposed to be, is clear pressings. I had no idea. I didn't know that part of it. But that was a cool video to see. And again, you can't believe everything you see on the internet, but just to
Yeah.
know that clear is supposed to be how every record starts off is cool.
Yeah,
Is a
it's
cool
cool.
thing to know.
Yeah,
But
plastic. It's all just plastic, huh?
right, right.
The thing I heard about Clears kind of before this was that they're the hardest to QC, to quality check because it's like see through, so you can't,
Yep,
Right.
yep.
see those things. So I was always a little weary about
A lot of
Clears.
times when I've sold any sort of clear record, not even a relapse, to a record store, they were like, "This is the hard part," and I was like, "I can assure you, I've never played this before." But
Yeah,
um, yeah, the whole relapse clear thing is has always been as soon as I guess as far back as can remember, like pre-ordering records from relapse, they always give you the option of like which pressing you want, and then there's always this one part that tells you it'll tell you like the pressing info, and then it'll say clear 100, not available to the public. Don't
yeah,
request clear. And the first one I ever got was from Jason Netherton of Misery Index. He had a spare one day, and or of Traders, and he was just like,
yeah,
"Here you go." And I was like,
yeah, yeah,
"Hell yeah!" And then it started. Like there's a couple people at Relapse that I do know, but like at some point, yeah, up until I want to say like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, they started just popping up like crazy on Discogs. So like,
mm,
there's a lot that you can just find if you're looking for something, but like realistically, like stuff like Neurosis, Mastodon, Dillinger Escape Plan, those are the ones that are the pricey ones.
yeah.
But like, I think there's a
Hey,
couple
Yob,
dying
I saw
fetuses here.
the repress of the Atma, the one that I have. That's not a relapse, but they did the repress one, and that clear was on Discogs. And I was like, oh, all right. So
The first album that they put was like Clearing a Path to Ascend, I think.
yeah, that they did with relapse.
Yeah, and it had
Yeah,
like those three like planet, and they were all like foil, and I had that one on clear,
yeah,
and I tried selling it for like $120 at one point, and I remember Champ Morgan commenting, "Son, you crazy thinking you're gonna get money for a yob?" And all these people were messaging me like, "That guy's an asshole. Don't listen to him." And I was like, "He's right though, because like that, I think I dropped that record to like $90 until
yeah,
when I eventually sold it, but like." Yeah, people just didn't want to pay that much for it. Like I understand, like unless you're like balling and you
yeah,
want to just drop money on it, but like so there's a lot of relapse clears that back in the day I had to save up for, but like now they're like I said, if it's not as like a significant band, like one of their staple bands like Dying Fetus,
hmm
or whoever's still putting out albums on the consistent through them, but like back when like Revocation was on that label, like I had people just be like, yeah, I got you, and they would hook me up. So like there is a guy there, but I don't bug him as much anymore. But
yeah.
it's because I really like, I don't know. Sometimes I want to get like certain particular pressings, but
They sell out. Those people get faster on the internet than you do.
absolutely, absolutely. The other day, Nightmare put out a new album, and some of them were on Wax Vessel. So I went to the website. It was like $100 for like those little like wax major, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, yeah. I've never gotten one of those. I've always missed that. That's another like highly praised those wax mages, but
People they
I
they
mean they
flip
buy
those.
them. They
They
don't
buy
even
them.
listen to music. They just buy it because it's the so
Some people buy them just to have. Some people buy them to flip. But
yeah.
I
It's true
just
too.
like, man, it sucks because there's bands that I like, I love that have put out albums on that label, and
Yeah,
it's just. Like people don't know about Found Dead Hanging or
No.
uh, Bodies in the Gears of the Apparatus. Nobody would know about those bands, like unless you were listening. Bodies was like a grindcore band. I don't know why that was. I think they just sold out because they're like cool, unique looking records. Like
They're amazing records. But
they
yeah,
should put out a
I
fake
don't know that
record just
band,
to see
so
how well it'll sell.
yeah. Yeah, the aftermarket. Well, just always give it a month. Don't like go straight to because that's like they'll get that highest price trying to make you get it.
Fear of missing out. Yeah, that's what that is. I mean, I've fallen for it a couple times, especially on Record Store Day. But like
Yeah,
the
totally.
last few years, I've been with help with people like Jeff, or it's got to be something important for me to stand in line. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, most of the record store day stuff I've kind of like either skipped or like I've gone in the next day and it's usually still there. It's usually like most of the Grateful Dead stuff, and like they always all record stores buy like a ton of those, so they're always kind of there, which is nice.
yeah,
Did you guys go
If there
yesterday to
if
anything
there's no
or
Taylor
Friday?
Swift, I ain't doing record store. If there's no Taylor Swift,
I got up mad early and I was third in line and
Sick.
got everything I was looking for. So it was pretty nice.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I spent too much money online. There was a like Relapse and Metal Blade both had a good sale online, so I just bought some there and was happy about
Cool. No, those are always good. Believe me. Like Relapse always has backstock of shit that people don't know about, and they
it. Yeah,
post some cool stuff on there. I wish in order to get like Relapse Vault stuff, you got to be on eBay or on their uh, Discogs.
yeah.
So, or at least know the people that work there. All right.
Cool. All right. So I will continue down my list here. All right, another doom metal band. This one is called Orthodox, and what is the name of this album? The name of this album is Proceed. This was a band that I found out about from Mike Scheit within Yob. So just kind of he like posted like this album came out. I really like it. I really like Yob and the music he makes. So I went to go listen to it, and I really like this record a lot. They're on the second side, the sun, the sword, and the bread. It's like this fretless, just doomy slapping bass. It's really fucking good. So this one's really good. This is a limited edition to 300 copies. They're a doom metal from Spain. So I did have to kind of go down a rabbit hole to find it, but it was a cheap record. It was only like $20. So, but again, really happy to get this and to hear that song that I really like on record as well.
What was the name of the band again?
Orthodox. So
Orthodox.
yeah, and then they've done some other records, but Proceed is the one that I like the most. They kind of found their sound. I think is the best. Um, but yeah, there's like a ton of bands. It's kind of hard to find on the streaming services because there's so many like orthodoxes. But so Proceed is maybe a better way to go for it. All right. Next one up is Muddy Waters, Electric Mud. So I'm originally from the Chicago area. So Chicago blues is definitely something that like the music that my dad showed and that was made there. So this record was kind of like my kind of gateway into the blues. So this one is like this record Muddy Waters' least favorite record that he ever did because the record companies was the one that made him like do this electric sound. So it really sounds like Muddy Waters playing like Jimi Hendrix style blues. So more electrified in those kind of solos. And then I mean it's just kind of the same songs, but just in that style. But this is put out by Chess Records or Cadet Records, which is a big Chicago blues records. Howling Wolf, Muddy Waters, Buddy Guy. So kind of all the legends were on this record label. So that is a record label that I try to collect. So anytime I go to the blues bins, I look for Chess Records, and same with like the 45 section. So those are usually pretty good to find. Chuck Berry was on this record label as well. So all really cool within there.
Nice.
We don't see much blues on Vinyl Bank, so
No, I
that's
think
good. That's
yeah,
good that we're
I
getting
really tried to mix it
some
up of
diversity
what
in
you guys
here.
don't have and what you do like. So, but yeah, blues definitely, and that's another pick from kind of my dad showed me. All right, next up, a Vinyl Bang classic of Tool. This one is a bootleg of their first demo, plus it has like half of Salvala. So it's just got the No Quarters, the Harry Manback Part 2, and then the LA Municipality Court song. But, the No Quarters is pretty fucking sweet to have. And then it's just the demo that runs down there. So obviously a bootleg. If Tool would just press all their fucking albums, that'd be great.
Amen.
But instead, they come out with every T-shirt and leather jacket and whatever else you don't need.
That's shots fired. Shots fired. But
Ew.
that's the opinion of almost every Tool fan, at least everybody that collects vinyl anyway.
Yeah,
Jeff, do you have you have like a legit pressing of that, right?
I no, there never was a legit pressing of Salival. I mean, I have the like everything, the entire collection of Salival on vinyl, but and it's both sides. But my question for you is, and I don't know if they could even fit this entire track on the same side as No Quarter and the message from Harry Manbeck, but the LAPD song is that the entire phone message
I feel
plus
like it
Maynard's
is.
dick at the end because that entire phone message is like press one for Princess Phone, press
Yeah,
two for
yeah,
uh, it pay Attenlay, and it's like dun 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 dun
yeah.
dun dun constantly, and things like 20 minutes long it seems like. But after that track is always Maynard's dick,
Maynard's dick.
which
No,
is
I
my
don't.
co-host's favorite song. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've caught on to
Isn't
that, but
that
that's
a secret track on the Opiate?
Salable.
Oh, no, it's not salvo. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't really listened to that one, in full in a while, so I don't remember how long it
Yeah.
ends. But
Yeah.
it definitely can't if you remember it being 20 minutes.
Like I say, I can't see that being, especially on the same side as No Quarter, because No Quarter is like a 12-minute song.
Yeah.
No Quarter's a pretty lengthy song as well. So, but anyway, that's cool. That's cool to have. And the demos, like those are like what are the tracks on the demo? Like I
Yeah.
can't even remember.
Cold and Ugly, Hush, Part of Me, Crawl Away, Sober, and Jerk Off. So fucking
Nice.
great lineup there. Yeah, so that
Nice.
was the original demo. I looked it up. Oh yeah, and then 72826 spells out Satan in like on a keypad. Like the old school texting.
Nice.
So that's what it says those letters spell out.
That's a little too much going from blues to Satan. I mean, we need to
Tool Satan.
tone it down there, Miles.
All right. Well, we'll catch you in the middle then.
So yeah, Tool bootleg. That's pretty fucking rad. I know, like I said, Jeff and I both we own like at least bootleg copies of Anima, and I'm sure I think you have a really cool bootleg Undertow. But
Yeah, and the 10,000 Days, another one that they should press, but they never have. I have a bootleg of that too.
I do too, dude, and it sounds amazing. Like I was very
Yeah, I
impressed
mean,
with how well that sounds.
I don't have too big of complaints. Again, just happy to have that there.
For sure.
Cool.
great
All right.
point about they need to stop kidding us with the leather jackets and all
Fucking
that.
everything but, and like if you want to make money, just sell records.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
For
that'd be
sure.
nice.
For sure. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna tone it down with some acoustic Metallica. So this I got from the Metallica Vinyl Club they did a couple years ago, and this one is a live recording from the Live at Bridgebank School benefit, which is Neil Young's benefit that he did at Shoreline Amphitheater, which is my like local shore amphitheater. So I actually got to see not this one. This was recorded in 1997, But shit, I didn't write down when that was. But the first time I did see Metallica is when I moved to the Bay Area, and it was actually at a Bridge School benefit show. So um, it's kind of the full circle of that. And then again, like seeing Metallica for the first time acoustic. Did I actually see them for the first time is in question as well. But um, these are really cool shows. You get a really cool lineup. The one I went to had Willie Nelson, Roger Waters from Pink Floyd, Dave Matthews, and then obviously Metallica, and then Neil Young plays as well. So really cool. They don't do those anymore, but really grateful that I got to go see that. Since then I've definitely been able to see Metallica a couple more times. Since living in the Bay Area, I got to go to the 50th? Is the 40th? I don't know. There was one at the big Chase Center. They did the 2-night thing before they did a tour of the 2-night thing, so we got to see it kind of before it all happened. But that was really cool. So yeah. So again, this one's from the Metallica Vinyl Record Club, and this one it is number 2, so pretty high up there, 7,106, but still numbered. I did not see how many they pressed of it.
I had to go in the other room and go get my wallet because I am also a member of the Metallica Vinyl Club, and I think I have my look here, like Metallica Vinyl
Sick.
Club. So yeah, yep. I know
Nice.
you can't say it because of light, but also remember there were dozens of us. There are members of the Metallica Vinyl Club, so that's pretty cool. I never saw that acoustic thing though. Like I've got several of the other pressings that they did for that club, but never saw that one. It must have flew over my radar.
Well, it's pretty good. It's like I said, acoustic, but Fade to Black and the Four Horsemen on one side, and then Low Man's Lyrics and Poor Twisted Me. So only two, two songs on each side. That was the one thing I was a little disappointed that they were like, kind of short. Like I was kind of hoping for full size, records on that, but whatever.
The Four Horsemen is the one song I want to fucking hear live so bad. I was hoping that back in 23, whenever Nick came out and we saw them together, that they were going to play the Four Horsemen on that at that show, but they didn't.
Yeah. We got because I went to the one. I'm pretty sure it's the same set list. I was pretty happy to get the Call of Cthulhu. I hadn't seen that, so but yeah, Four Horsemen is definitely one of my favorite Metallica songs. So definitely
you did open night 2 with Whiplash.
Yeah.
But, no Four Horsemen.
All right, continue on. I got High on Fire. This one is The Art of Self-Defense. So this is their first record. They recently remastered and re-released it in 2023. I think it sounds really good, compared to the original one. So I was really happy to hear and see this. A big fan of High on Fire, Matt Pike. As I got my sleep shirt on, so pretty cool and good record. And they always do like really cool pressings too for High on Fire again, because they're the MNRK heavy, but they put out a lot of like pressings for their records as well. So this is a cool one. This one is
nice.
A clear with ruby and gray splatter. So they don't see much of the gray. I guess it's more on this side. There's like a couple darker areas, but other than that, it just looks red and clear. But yeah, really cool pressing on that one. All right, to continue along with the doom metal and Matt Pike kind of theme stuff here. This one was put out by Magnetic Eye Records, and it is Mark Earlsellies. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Step in Doom. So I had to look up who he was, but it is doom metal and throat singing, Mongolian throat singing. So there's Mongolian throat singers with like doom metal artists. So like Matt Pike is on here. Who else is on here? Steve Von Till from Neurosis, Scott Wino from the Obsessed. So it's really cool, just blending of those sounds. And then the guy that did it, Mark, he is a London-based Italian-Swiss audio engineer designer, and he's the one that kind of put together this like concept, and it goes really well together. So Magnetic Eye Records, they do some really cool shit, and they put out some really cool, looking records as well. So I was really stoked to hear what this sounded like when they like initially announced it, and just like a badass cover too, like a hawk with a guy on a fucking mountain.
That is very artistic. Because
Yeah.
speaking of Magnetic Eye Records, they just completely unrelated, but they just did a couple of Nine Inch Nails Redux releases, and I
Sick.
just got both of them in the mail. You probably actually see one, the
Yeah, yeah.
best of Nine Inch Nails, back here behind me. But yeah, Magnetic Eye Records, they've done a lot of cool stuff over the years, and
Yeah, and they just keep doing all those Redux albums are really cool. So
mhm.
happy to. I didn't know about the Nine Inch Nails ones. I'm not as crazy about that band, but I'll definitely try to listen to that. Maybe hear
Yeah.
the other people's renditions. I might like more than just the Nine Inch Nail one. So
One of the things I haven't even listened to it yet. It's been online for a couple of days now, but I want
yeah.
to give the vinyl its actual, beginning to end spin. But I'm excited to hear Between the Buried and Me cover Hurt. I
Whoa,
really
whoa,
fucking want to hear that rendition so bad. But
yeah. Well, I mean, Johnny Cash owns that rendition right now, so we'll see what
he
happens.
does. He does, and I'm sure he will continue to, even
Yeah,
after
yeah.
Between the Buried and Me have put their touch on it. But
Yeah, that's cool. I have no idea which direction they would go to. I would definitely want to hear
right,
that too.
right.
Okay. The last one I got kind of from my Mike Pike or Matt Pike section is Pike versus the Automaton. So this is like his solo COVID project. He was kind of making in his garage with kind of random musicians that live in Portland now that he's moved up there. But he really talked it up. And I really like it a lot. I mean, it's pretty similar to High on Fire, but like maybe a little bit more psychedelic at some places. But they did really good. I do have this one's a limited edition clear with kind of that ruby red splatter again. And then I did also remember that Brent Hines played on one of these songs here too. He is on track 5, so whatever that one is. But pretty cool. I really like this. I really lived up to the hype of the album coming out and them talking about it.
Killer stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, again, if you like, kind of Sleeping High on Fire, definitely check out that one. I got to see that band too come, and they played at a really small like bar and stage, than like a music venue. So like it was a pretty small place. If I feel if like for Matt Pike to play, especially in the Bay Area where he's from. So. All right, this one is Lord Dying, and it is a Mysterium Trendadum. This band was the opener for Black Label Society and Obituary, and sometimes I don't always make the openers or whatever, but this one, they blew us away. Like me and my wife, we went and we saw their set and we're like, okay, we got to go buy that record. So immediately went to the merch table, bought this record. It's like psychedelic, kind of like prog metal ish, and this album is very like a concept album. So like played front to back. There's kind of returning themes or sounds, but it's a really badass album and definitely a heavy like spun record in our house.
Lord Dying.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I was
they're
going to
from
say, like, I think I have a different perception of them, but please go ahead, Nick. Go ahead and
They
say what you're going to
yes
say.
they. If I remember correctly, they were more of like kind of like I don't want to say stoner rock, but like just a little bit more high paced, like Red Fang, High on Fire ish.
yeah, but I
But
really
they were
found
on Relapse at one point.
yeah, I don't know there. I know there's two other
I think
ones.
that's right.
This one's on E1, which is the MNRK, like right, that like merged or whatever. But I do agree that they did have two. I went back and listened to their discography, and the two albums before I didn't like as much, but this one like really, honed in on their sound. And then they did come out with another album after, probably like a year ago, and was more lines along to that. But I still like that one over that new record too.
Yeah, because I don't remember them being proggy when I saw them, but that's cool that they uh, I guess advanced their sound. So that's cool.
I cannot place where I'm where I'm categorizing this band at. They don't sound like what I remember or what I
Yeah,
perceive to remember from this band. It doesn't describe what you've described. Again, it may be my old age. I'm just, maybe I'm thinking
yeah.
of
I
Lord
mean, it could
Gore or
be
something.
another.
Maybe I'm
It
thinking
could
of like
be
guttural vocals and more than anything else. Just like, what the fuck,
could be
Lord
Dying
dying? Like
Lord
it's
you're
just
thinking of instead of Lord
No,
Dying.
maybe
they
I
were like
don't
a
know.
three-piece when I saw them. I saw them with Misery Index years ago, and also years ago somebody sent me a package of like Relapse Clears, and that the album
That was
it
in
had
there.
like a mountain on the cover, if I remember correctly. That was
That's
in
this
there,
one.
and and
Remember that one or no?
no, no. Anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just yeah, I remember them differently. They were like a three-piece, and yeah. Anywho,
Cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Does it say how many people? No. All right. Another band that I think is starting to find their sound a lot more as they put out more records is Entheos.
Hmm.
That the last album, this is their EP, their most recent album they put out. So there's a couple new songs and then a couple live tracks on here. But the last album they put out too, that was the Time Will Take Us All. I think they're really finding their kind of that spot of kind of proggy metal too. And then Cheney, I mean, she's got really good, voice, with the guttural sides and stuff. And then now she's starting to sing a little bit. So just kind of it all mixed together is really cool. So excited to see where this band goes. They also got, signed to Metal Blade Records. So, a little bit more, maybe, kind of a bigger record label behind them. So excited for their next album.
100%. Love those guys and gal. Shaney's a homie of mine, and yeah, really, really talented band. Like Naveen is a really talented
Yeah.
musician. That guy
Fucking
knows how to
badass drummer.
write and perform music like no one's business. And if I've been reading this correctly, he like broke his ankle or he like
Yeah, I
sprained
saw that.
sprained it,
I,
and he's
I
continuing on the tour.
Yeah, yeah, and like their first headlining tour, and it's like I missed the show here, but yeah,
Yeah.
and then to see that, and like I can't even imagine how bummed he is, to be in that
Mm.
situation and then can't play totally.
He's a
But
true professional, and
I believe it.
Cheney's a great human being, one of the sweetest women in the world, and just very proud of that band where they're going, and hopefully big things come for them because they've
Yeah,
been
yeah,
busting their asses off.
yeah, yeah. They used to live out here in Santa Cruz. They're originally a Santa Cruz band, and then they recently moved to Nashville. But
Many years I was really tight with Frank, who was the original guitarist,
oh,
and
cool.
Naveen when they were in Animosity. I used to see
Yeah,
them all
yeah.
the time, and then I actually Cheney told me this years later, but like the very first full set of Entheos that ever got posted online, I filmed them when they played in
Sick.
Richmond in like I think it was 2015.
Yeah.
So I remember that moment. That was really fucking awesome. Like they were, I think they were on tour with Revocation, but yeah, just they like you said, like from what how they've changed over the years. My buddy Evan used to play bass in that band. I wish,
Yeah.
yeah, I think he still does. He just doesn't tour with them anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, really
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Cool. All right. Next one I have is Claypool Lennon Delirium. So Les Claypool and Sean Lennon, their band they do together. And this one is the original album that they did. It's a 10-inch. It's actually one of my favorite pressings that I own. Just like clear green and clear green splatter.
That's
And
awesome.
this one is all just covers. So it's got a Pink Floyd cover, um, the Who cover, and then King Crimson as well. But this one's really cool. Living in the Bay Area, is where Les Claypool lives as well. So we get to see him pretty often, and then all his like iterations of bands. So this band, we've gone to the New Year's Eve shows to see, and then Frog Brigade has come and played here. The Bastard Jazz was another one, and then obviously Primus plays all the time as well. This one I bought actually at Les Claypool's winery. So he has a winery that's like about 2 hours north from here in Sebastopol, and inside the winery, a bunch of cool shit. Like obviously like Primus posters and stuff, and then just a whole wall of like merch and the merch for the winery, and then just Les Claypool things. And this was on the shelf. This is definitely a record that I was looking for. I think it was a record store day release, when it originally came out. So happy to find it kind of out in the wild.
Nice.
Yeah. Your big Primus fans or Les Claypool fans on here.
I've seen Primus 26 times. I mean, like they're one of the bands that I've seen the most.
Sick.
The New Year's Eve show last year, my wife and I flew out to Oakland for the New Year's show last year. We saw the Claypool
Yeah.
Gold. We saw the well, let me refer to the poster here. The Frog Brigade, the Holy Mackerel, and Primus, and that was fun. That was a fun show, and
Sick.
the whole Claypool or the whole Lennon connection, that was cool too. A couple years back, my buddy Brad Jameson and I went to Indiana, and the guitarist for Cephalic Carnage, Steve Goldberg, was running sound for the Flaming Lips, so he got us in. But Jameson got to meet Sean Lennon. I got to shake his hand, and we both did, But I was like, "Hey, Sean Lennon,
Yeah,
cool."
yeah.
And Jameson was like, "Oh my God, you're John Lennon's kid," and like blah blah blah. But that was a fun experience, and getting to do the whole Claypool Lennon thing, like the way that those two mesh together and do different collabs together, and just that's a cool thing, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is a really cool one.
Okay.
He's supposed to be doing a collab record with Billy Strings. He's a bluegrass artist that is kind of up and coming, and I'm really excited to hear that whenever that gets dropped. I mean, that's been kind of teased on the internet for a couple years now, so hopefully it's a real thing.
What is it with these smug musicians from the '90s opening up wineries? I mean, like, come on.
Yeah.
No, that's an awesome record. That's I remember Jeff telling me that story a couple years ago when he got to meet Sean Lennon, and
yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I
is
love
he
that.
English, or does he have like an English accent, or is he American?
He has the accent. I mean, he was born from
he looks
what
just
I
like
understand.
him too.
He just sounds just like him too. I mean, like there are several songs where it's him singing, with Claypool just in the background, but it's like it could easily pass for a Beatles song. He just sounds so much like his dad. Just like it's uncanny. But
wasn't he on Primitive by Soulfly?
That was the other one.
Yeah,
that was not
He
Sean.
was
That
on
was there was another
him,
one. There's
there is. I think
Oh,
it is Sean.
Sean.
Okay. All right, you go back to your next record. I'll report back in a minute.
All right.
Yeah, he'll correct us. This is actually right over here.
It's going to drive me nuts. I know there's two of them.
Okay, so my next record is Hank Williams III, Straight to Hell. This is one of my favorites by him. It's got a bunch of good songs. Straight to Hell, Getting Thrown Out of Bars, Country Heroes. And this is just like the country music that I want to hear, of like, old school outlaw country combined with like punk rock and metal. So pretty fucking sweet. And the song D. Ray White is about this crazy family that's in West Virginia, and like that's how I found out about Hank 3 is through the Wild Whites of West Virginia documentary.
For sure.
And that was done by Dick House. I think it was done by Jeff Tremaine and Johnny Knoxville. But anyways, great record. This is definitely kind of one of my put on when I'm drinking records, but I really enjoy this one.
Have you ever seen Hank live?
No, I missed it. You know, I did. He just stopped touring
You took,
altogether. Probably like
I forget what year it was, but
right before.
I got there early. I was doing a drum camp for Dwayne Timlin, who's performing with one
Whoa.
of I think it was Ass Jack, but I got there
Ass Jack,
early.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 'cause he did that and Super Joint Ritual and all that shit.
Yeah, I got there early and got to watch Hank. He didn't have a roadie. He had no roadies. He was loading in his own equipment and everything. I'm just like, man, that's a fucking that you don't see that very often. The star of the
No.
show, especially him play. He played 3 sets that
Yeah.
night. He did the country set, and the bar
Wow.
and the venue was packed for that. And then after that, he did his like
Yeah.
obscure metal stuff, and like 3/4 of the place
Yeah.
left. But it was still cool to watch
Really?
him perform, loaded his own equipment, perform 3 sets, stay around after the show to sign
Yeah.
autographs and do all the shit, and then load out his own equipment. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's fucking incredible. But it was an amazing show. Yeah, and that album, Straight to Hell,
Yeah.
what a good
Yeah.
album.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm still
Yeah.
investigating, by the way. I got sidetracked, but yeah.
When when Super Joint Ritual was a constant thing for Anselmo, I would go see it a lot, and I met Hank quite a few times in those
Cool.
days. And then in like the 2000s, like the mid 2000s, he became a big fan of Psyopus and took them on tour at one point. And then when he would do Ass Jack, Chris Art from Psyopus would play guitar.
Sick.
And then I remember maybe a year or so after that tour, Chris was still doing it, and they came to the 930 Club in DC with Reverend Horton Heat, and I can tell the story on this show. We went on the bus, and like Chris got us all access. We're hanging out there with Hank and Joe Buck, and they asked me if I wanted a cookie, and I was like, sure. And there's like a plate full of cookies there, and I think I was maybe on my third or fourth one when they were like, wait, how many of those did you eat? And they told me. Yeah, they told me what they were, and like I was lucky I had a friend there, and she was a little drunk, but like she got me home safely because I
Yeah.
was by the time I got in the car, I was all like leaned over like that, and they didn't do that to me on purpose because like I was already chiefing pretty hard with them before that, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
and then I was like, I'm so hungry, oh let me eat these cookies, like Hank is an awesome fucking dude, nicest guy in the world,
Cool.
and like you said, very humble. If you got to see him sit there loading his own equipment, I mean, like he's told me stories about like sometimes that they'll play these places that you'd be surprised that somebody with his name would play, but he doesn't give a shit as long as he can perform his music and people show up. But yeah, like Jeff said, he does the country set first, then he does the rockabilly set, and then he does the metal set. And the metal set kind
Wow.
of drives people a little
Yeah.
out of there. But it's great that he's a fan of all that stuff, and he puts in the effort to like play all three styles in one night because
Right.
that's a performer right there.
It
Yeah.
is. It
Yeah.
absolutely is. But yeah, very cool. Back to the Soulfly thing. It was you were both right. I thought it was Julian that
I,
shut up.
I know, I know. Thank you for telling
Shut
me I
up.
was right.
Shut up. Miles, go ahead. Talk about your next record. We're done. We're done with
Okay. Another classic. So System of Down steal this album. This one I think is my favorite out of their short discography. Probably one of the one that gets probably the least amount of love, just because it's not like a bunch of hits, but I really like it. And then this is one that also like when I was buying CDs and I was young, um, my mom would check kind of what music I was listening to and like check it out at Best Buy before I bought it. And this album, I remember the parental advisory is on the outside, and I could just peel it off and then be like, "Mom, check this out." I don't know how she missed "Fuck the System," but she did, and she let me buy this album. So, thanks, Mom. And then, again, a big fan of these. ADD, Mr. Jack, AIAIO is a fucking great one. Fuck the System, Ego Brain. So, big fan of System of a Down, and this is my favorite by them.
Pictures, dude. That album has so many good ones on it, dude. The song "Pictures," I fucking love that song,
Yeah.
dude. That's a good compilation. But yeah, I forget what else is on it, but yeah, that's a good. That's probably the only one I don't own on it. And is that okay? This is one thing that's always bugged me about that. Is that a picture disc or is that an actual like standard like?
Yeah. No, it's a sleeve, and then I do remember that because my CD cover looked like this. Which again, I don't know how my mom missed this, but like
You've never seen
the
that.
ladies and whatever. So I know that some look like this, some like this. So maybe even there was records that looked, or CDs that look like this.
Yep.
But yeah, so this is just the sleeve, and then everything goes in it.
Hmm. I don't know why. I guess I've just always assumed that it was a picture disc
Well,
because of the
the
cover, I guess.
CD was just a blank cover, and it was the CD, and it
Right,
written, and so.
right,
But yeah,
right.
It
Maybe
didn't
that's
have
what
a
it was.
booklet. It just showed you what the disc looked like.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that one. I remember it coming out, and I just, it didn't do it for me. Um, I've told this story many times on the show. I think after that was Mesmerized, which I love that, and then I did not like Hypnotized, but I've given Hypnotized a listen a few more times. I feel like that album was just Darren being very
Darren.
Darren-ish and like over the top, whatever he can get away with. But that band is a very popular band, and this past summer they headlined giant football stadiums, and
Yeah,
that's incredible for a metal band, especially a band
with no new
of
music. I mean, like albums that came out.
two full-length album, four
Yeah,
full-length albums.
yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, it came
they
out
were
20
like
years ago.
Yeah,
from
right. I just saw it. They
1998
just
to
released new
like
merch.
2006, really. 1998
Yeah,
to 2006 is when all their new music, where their music was.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
uh, great band. Can't say enough good things about those dudes because they really like definition of like success right there. But for a metal band, at least.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it's cool because like the first time, the second time I ever saw him, the first time I saw him was at Ozfest whenever I discovered him, and then the second time I saw him was in 2001, 2000, the Summer Sanitarium whenever they opened for Metallica. They were the first band to
Yeah,
play, and it was just like
2001.
nobody knew
yeah,
who they were. That was cool,
yeah,
and now they're selling, like Nick said, football arenas or whatever.
yeah, Steve.
Anyway,
Yeah,
huge System of a Down fan. Good for you for bringing on that album. I need to find that. I need to get that one.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a short discography you can complete, so definitely get
Right,
that one.
right.
All right. Next up, we got Mortuous. So, death metal band from San Jose. So, local guys. They don't really tour that much or kind of play often, but I did get to see them a couple years ago with Full of Hell and Blood Incantation. But just wanted to bring it up. A local band, San Jose, doesn't have much, but this is one of the bands we got. All right. Moving on down. This record I really liked. This is the band Fugitive Manic. It's actually an EP. It's only a couple songs, but this is
Power
Blake from Power Trip's side band that he did, and then now the singer from this band is now the singer of Power Trip. So, but really really cool band. I mean, kind of along the same sound as Power Trip, that kind of thrashy metal. Um, and I did get to see them live. They did a kind of a short tour of the West Coast, and they said they were going to come out with a new album sometime soon. So that was about a year ago. So hopefully it happens. But really enjoy this one, and like I said, it's kind of short track list there. A couple of their songs, and then they do a really good "Raise the Dead" by Bathory cover at the end. So cool record on that one. All right, sticking again with local death metal. So we go with Necrot. This one is Mortal. They are from Oakland, and they're on Tank Crimes Records, which is also kind of Bay Area record label. So just kind of local stuff. Able to see them kind of at smaller places, and now they're opening up for bigger shows and bigger bands and stuff. So really cool to see, and always their artwork is pretty fucking badass. So really cool to see, and just to see them go from kind of bars to the big stages.
Shout out to Scotty from Tank Crimes. I was
Yeah,
showing off my Tank Crimes tattoo, but I'm not on camera, so it's all good.
sick. You got a Tank Crimes tattoo? Fuck, get Scotty on here then.
We've talked about it. I gave him the same rundown as you, and he said, bro, I don't know if you've ever heard me talk. 20 albums, I might be on there for hours. Like, break it down to maybe like 10 albums a night because I talk a lot. And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, that's great. But like, I'd love to have him on because he's a label owner and he could also talk about other stuff that he's into. But yeah, somewhere here, somewhere. Oh shit, computer turning.
Sick. Yeah, there he is.
There it is. Yeah.
Cool.
Love Scotty. Love him. Love the stuff he puts out. When he was putting out Cannabis Corpse.
Yeah.
Um, they did really fucking cool packaging for them, and I appreciate how he does stuff, and
Yeah, totally.
I
Great
just got
packaging,
something in
giant
the mail today
posters and
from him. Yeah,
stickers like falling out of shit every time you order. So
yeah, you're right. I just got something in the mail from him today that I got to share at a future episode when it's just me and Jeff. But
cool.
he's been putting out some really cool stuff lately.
Yeah. All right, next one up, a Melvin's record. So it's not a vinyl bang episode without talking about Melvin's or one of them. But so this one is the Pincus Abortion Technician, and it is one of the special covers. It's not like it's a printed sleeve of the style they do of the print press. But this is limited to 100, and it's black and yellow. But yeah, so I bought this, from the vinyl merch table bin. So
Nice.
cool pressing.
Yeah,
I feel like the online pictures pressings look better than mine, but either way, this is one of my favorite Melvin's albums. Stop Moving to Florida is just like the Melvins, So really happy to get kind of one of their nicer pressings for not something that broke the bank. I haven't been like most of everything else. It's like the normal looking pressings, but cool to finally get something special from them.
Sure. I'm sitting here looking
So
through
those are
my.
just kind of on Melvins.
I'm sitting here looking through my Melvin's Mackie presses to see if I've got that one, and I don't, because I've got them sitting right here beside me. Yeah. So that's a new one. I haven't seen that one. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah. Anyway.
All right, and then just because we did talk about the Reduxes, so I did have this kind of along the side. This is The Wall, Pink Floyd's The Wall Redux, and the Melvins did the first song In the Flesh on this one. So really cool, and there's a ton of other. Obviously, as we talked about, they get just such cool lists of bands, but a Wall, The Wall, definitely a special album, an album I really like. So always cool to hear the renditions of others that do it.
that is awesome. I've never seen that one.
Their take of In the Flesh is like very Melvins. I mean, they definitely made it their own. It's just like, what is this? And I was like, oh yeah, it's the Melvins. Of course, they're going to make it their own. They're not going to play it note for note. But it was pretty cool.
They did do that with their Kiss cover.
They did, and I'm not a fan of that one either. So maybe it's best that they make covers their own.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's what I listen for on those Redux. Like, I don't want to hear the song again. I want to hear your version of that song.
Somebody else's
take. Cool album.
For sure.
All right. I am a big fan of the Grateful Dead. So I definitely had to talk about one of their albums on here. Definitely, a heavy metal looking album for sure. But it's What a Long Strange Trip It's Been by the Grateful Dead, the best of the Grateful Dead. And this is actually one of the first CDs that I rented from my local library. It's kind of like how I, would get music, obviously illegally downloading, but my library had a really good selection of CDs. So I just kind of go there. You could rent out a bunch and discover new music. So obviously this album cover intrigued me as a young kid. It's definitely not the music that it looks like, but still a band that I really like today. So, big fan of the Grateful Dead and that's kind of where it all started. So this is kind of a little warped kind of pressing, but it does have, the original hype sticker on there. So that's pretty cool.
There is some kid Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, he brings up an interesting fact. The metal looking, I mean, the name even, the Grateful Dead. It sounds like something that could be hard rock or their artwork looks very like grim and some stuff. And when I was a kid, my sister was a big fan, and I remember buying a Blues for Allah shirt.
Yeah.
This awesome tie dye shirt. I saw that photo of me wearing it somewhere. But um, when I heard the record, I was like, oh wow, this is not what I expected.
Yeah.
Kind of like Iron Maiden. I was just a kid. I was just think they were gonna be some fucking like thrashy like Slayer type thing, and
Yeah.
they weren't. But like
Yeah.
don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. I mean, it's same thing as Ghost. They look a lot scarier than they sound too.
For sure, for sure, no doubt.
Well, I was going to say
Jeff, what were you gonna say?
there's some kid somewhere that has had his mind blown by the fact that you said you used to rent CDs from a library. Some kid's going to be like, "What the fuck? Is that a real thing?" Like, you used to have to rent CDs from a library. You couldn't just, "Oh, I want to listen to this album now," and have it at your fingertips.
Yeah,
You've
right.
warped some kid somewhere is going to hear this and go, "That's not true. That's not true. There's no way that was ever a thing." Where people would rent CDs from a library, but I
That is how
remember those days.
yeah. I
Yeah.
remember there was an absurd, massive section of REM. They just had a ton of REM CDs. I don't know why. It was repeats of the same one, but I always remember the R section in REM. We always joked that it was like from like the kids that OD'd and then their parents donated their CD collection to the library. So
Yeah.
I know it's a little dark, but again,
Michael Stipe likes to read, so he likes to donate CDs to the library. I
all right. So we are on kind of like the mixed matched end of the section here. The next one up that I got is a reggae record. Augustus Pablo. I know Nick has said he's trying to get into some reggae, and this is one of my favorite reggae records, or reggae artists. I don't, he's got a ton of records. So, but he plays the Mellotronic, and just like just kind of cool, groovy reggae beats. He does work with Lee Scratch Perry, so another of like kind of the OGs of reggae, and but his records are kind of hard to find. So if you see it, definitely would pick it up.
Killer. I will definitely check that out.
Yeah, you can listen to it while you do some Cypress Hill.
you don't encourage him.
Okay, this band Haunt. They're kind of a local band. They're in Fresno. It's like a couple hours from here, but they play pretty often up here in the Bay Area. And they're like kind of like Iron Maiden kind of sound. So like the new it's called like they call it American heavy metal or American new heavy metal, something like that. But anyway, so really cool band. Like I said, sounds like Iron Maiden. Pretty prolific band too. They put out albums pretty constantly, and this band, it's a one-man project, and then he has people that back him as he plays live. But Trevor Church, and so he puts out an album pretty much every year. He does really cool packaging too, and all of it. He sells through his Bandcamp. He kind of does solely Bandcamp sales. So this one's a pretty cool one of kind of that divide.
Awesome.
But yeah, so he does really cool stuff. Again, it's all pretty much sold through Bandcamp on his page. But really, really cool. Again, and they just come a lot, so it's really fun band to go see live.
I was gonna say I saw them a couple years ago with Carcass, and they were a little thrashy, right? Like
Yeah. So,
yeah.
all around there.
That record was really fucking awesome looking. I love it.
And this is Mind Freeze. I would say it's like one of the best ones they've done. I like the newer one. There was kind of a couple ones that were in the mix in the middle, but yeah, if you want to get in this band, I would say Mind Freeze is probably the top album to start with.
Killer.
Yeah. All right. So next up, we got Ghostface Killer. And this one is with the band, what is it? Bad, Bad, Not Good. So they're like a jazz band. But so this is Ghostface with that band. So it's all live, like a band music with him. So it's really cool. It's got his kind of old school flow. I haven't liked as many of his recent records as this one. So this one I really liked, and obviously bought. And then, I really like that it is played with a live band as well. Obviously, Wu-Tang people, they make pretty good fucking beats, from RZA, kind of the people they work with. But I thought this is a really cool sound, a little bit different for them as well.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this one is my last album. So Humphreys McGee. I know Jeff has talked about this about them on before. So but I'm a really big fan of this band. And these records are their Hall of Fame. So every year they put out a Hall of Fame record where the fans vote on the best live songs from the year, and then they put together a compilation, like a digitally one. It's usually like 20 songs, and then they narrow it down to because they're a jam band, it's kind of one song per side, or can be kind of two songs, or like one song goes into another song, but kind of one song per side. And this is definitely a big chunk. Something that I really like to collect, as they do every year. So this one's the 2014 one. It goes all the way back to 2010, but I do not have that far back. These are pretty pricey records too, so kind of the ones I'm scouring Discogs for as well. But again, big fan of this band. They're like jam band with a little bit of prog and like sometimes a little heavy metal. So that's kind of how I got into them. My dad was the one that showed me this band as well, knowing that I liked heavier music. He was like, "Hey, check out this, son." So really like this one. And then also when I moved to the Bay Area, this band, going to see them live is kind of how I met all of my really good friends here. So thank you, Humphreys, for getting me to do that. And they come around once a year. They are more of a Midwestern band, so they tour a lot more there. But again, Humphreys, Love this band, and happy to see that Jeff likes them. I don't know if Nick does, or not.
Nick does not.
I know. I really know nothing about that band. I don't dislike them. I just don't know much about them. But Jeff's played them for me a few times. But I know he's a huge fan.
Do you ever go see him live?
I've seen them live 7 or 8 times. Not a whole lot, but I have seen them several times. The second or third time I ever saw them, they did Chris Myers sang "Black Hole Sun" just out of nowhere at a random. And it was like, dude, this is so fucking bad. But like usually, whenever they play in St. Louis, they'll do a Halloween weekend. They'll do either 2 or 3 nights at the pageant in St. Louis, and I usually do 2 of the 3, if not all 3. But I try to see them as often as possible, just because they're one of those, it's like one of those jam bands where you don't know what you're going to get. You can watch them every night, for a month and not get the same song ever. Every song or every night's a different set. And I really enjoy that about that band, and especially, jam bands in particular, but those Humphreys McGee in particular, I love.
I agree. I mean, this is my metal friends. I try to, kind of push them a little towards Humphreys.
That's exactly what I try doing with Nick, is showing him, because they have their heavier side. I mean, they do have the jammy stuff that's like it's okay, but like my favorite album from them is Similar Skin, just because it's heavier. That I believe than anything else they've done. But I really like that. Awesome band.
And the Halloween shows, did you go to any of the mashup shows? Was that any of the mashup shows? Were they like,
Simnick? 2 of them. I've been to 2 different years. Yeah.
Cool.
But that's a good thing to bring on the show. Good for you. Somebody else.
Good way to end the show. Make Jeff happy.
As being a fan of this show, and then that was a wild card. I did not see Umphreys slipped in between, Pig Destroyer and Cattle Decapitation, but it
Yep.
did.
Yep.
So
There they
fuck
are.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. Awesome.
All
Well,
right,
hell
well
yeah.
that's my list.
Well, that was a pretty awesome one. Where we
Yeah.
definitely there's a couple things on here we got to look. I'm gonna Augustus Pablo is one I'm gonna look into.
Sick.
We'll
Yeah.
find some new reggae here. I appreciate that one. Yeah, pretty fine episode. We appreciate the sick records you brought on here. There's some nice looking ones you broke out for sure.
Thank you. Yeah,
For
happy
sure.
to be here.
And
Final
for what?
bang.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank you, Miles, for being on this week, for giving us your time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Jeff, got anything to add?
Good for Miles for bringing on Melvins. He did good. Yep.
All
Sick.
righty. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you all next week.